Hi there, and a warm welcome to another special episode here on the squirrels.in. Now, a lot of water has flown under the bridge since we had the heavy duty 2024 Lok Sabha elections. And subsequently, you've had elections in Maharashtra as well as in Haryana, which not many thought that the BJP would win. But the BJP ended up winning those two assembly elections as well. So the low, in a sense, of a Modi-led BJP not managing to cross the halfway mark of 272 in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, but then the high, again of a Modi-led BJP, managing to win in two states where very few people had given the BJP a chance. Now, how did this turnaround really happen? Well, the State Bank of India has now come up with a very interesting sentiment analysis of what had really happened in the Lok Sabha elections. Why is it that in states where the BJP did not perform well during the Lok Sabha elections, why is it that in those very states the BJP has ended up improving its performance, like in Haryana and in Maharashtra, in the subsequent assembly elections? The one critical factor which is being listed out is the women participation. The State Bank of India, in its report, points out that in the last decade, from 2014, when Narendra Modi first made his mark on the national political scenario, all the way till 2024, women voters have ended up playing a huge role, a massively critical role. Just look at some of the numbers. Out of more than 9 crore more voters, surplus voters who have cast their votes in the last decade, 58% of them, that's 5.3 crores, are actually female voters. The even more interesting story is that the proportion of these female voters is the highest in states where the economic parameters weren't really at their peak. The even more interesting statistic is that the biggest gain of women voters has been in states which were literally languishing at the bottom end of the economic pyramid. There are states like Assam, there are states like Bihar, there are states like West Bengal, even in Uttar Pradesh, where there has been a lot of addition in roads, but the economic indices weren't really a shining example for the rest of the country. In these states, the proportion of women voters has increased the most. You break it down even more, the proportion of women voters coming from the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities has also ended up increasing at an all-time high. So if you look at the scheduled caste section, and if you look at the proportion of women from this category now participating in Indian elections, in the scheduled castes, 8.8 in 2014, going up to 9.7% in 2019, and now 10.1% in 2024. Similarly, you look at scheduled tribes, it has gone up from 4.5% in 2014 all the way up to 5.5% in 2024, which basically means that in multiple communities, it is the women voter whose participation has ended up taking the entire community upwards. Now, 2014 to 2019, which was the party which was ruling the roost? If you look at states like Maharashtra, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, the biggest states, even Bihar, it was the BJP which ended up putting up astounding performances. In 2024, if you take out Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, the BJP's performance in rest of the states was pretty similar. What does it point us towards? It points us to a fact that maybe in these two states, there was something that was working on the ground, including the women voters, which could not be matched by the BJP. Now you look at the assembly elections. Look at Delhi. What is the entire focus on? The entire focus is on for 8 reveries on the 8th of February being promised by Arvind Kejriwal, to the equal amount of freebies, in a sense, being promised by the BJP as well. And now the Congress has also jumped in. So when the Prime Minister and the rest of the BJP heavyweights were pointing out to the last decade that there has been a fundamental shift in how Indian voters were voting, this report by the State Bank of India actually ends up becoming the first empirical study in a sense, which turns the spotlight on where have things really changed at a very basic fundamental level, at a very basic ground level. In states, according to this report, where one or more women-centric schemes were launched, the average women voter turnout in 19 beneficiary states increased by a cumulative sum of 1.5 crores or on an average 7.8 lakhs. This was in 2024 as compared to an increase of only 2.5 lakh in states where no such schemes were launched after 2019. So, for all the criticism that we at squirrels.in have often launched and have often wondered that where is all this money coming from? Why is it that states like Jharkhand, in Punjab, in Delhi, which have been described to be states which were literally staring at bankruptcy, at least as far as government's finances is concerned, why is it that these states were going out of their way to promise more schemes for women? Well, now you have these numbers which point you in that direction. What it also tells us is this, that as we now move to the next round of assembly elections, Bihar goes to polls towards the end of the year, you'll have the 3 northeastern states, you'll have West Bengal next year. In each state, watch out for the number of women-oriented schemes, women beneficiary schemes, because as this report points out, you have one or more women-centric scheme launched in a particular state, the average voter turnout ends up increasing significantly. How do we interpret all this in the context of the now ongoing Delhi Assembly elections? Well, on one hand, there is the political one-upmanship game which is being played between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, with the Congress trying to play catch-up. The other is, if you look at the moves which have been made by Arvind Kejriwal, what is he promising? Free metro ride, free bus ride for women. Now there is a sum under the Mahila Samman Sanidhi Yojana as well, a sum of over 2,000 rupees to be given to all women voters of Delhi. Obviously, Mr. Kejriwal is wanting to have the biggest pie of this cake. The BJP has also come up with a similar proposition. You can wonder whether this is a right kind of politics, but the reality is this is a vote enhancing or a vote increasing brand of politics which is being played on all sides. So that's it then on this episode of how politics consistently ends up being impacted by data. Do log in to our website, squirrels.in, or you can catch us on our YouTube page as well as our Twitter, our Insta and Facebook page, where we keep sharing various data points which are coming up in public domain to try to explain to you where is the fundamental shift really happening at a very basic ground level.